excellence, and motivation. Always the agenda.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Great Employees Matter, the podcast that focuses on helping employees rise from average to great and helping employers learn to take care of their most valuable asset, their employees. Today, we have another fabulous guest. Without disparaging anybody else, maybe the most interesting guest that we have had to date. She's a little bit different from what we normally invite to the show because her title is the #1 female advocate for men. So I'll just let you think about that for a second. You can ponder that. Char Curry is a counselor. She's a relationship strategist. She's an intimacy coach, and she's the host of the Char Curry Show. She's made it her mission to challenge societal norms, restore mutual respect, and empower both men and women in their emotional wellness journeys. So with that, welcome aboard. Welcome to the show, Char. I'm going to turn it over to Kobe. Kobe?
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. Thanks for the intro. I want to welcome everybody to the show. Like, share, subscribe. Please help us get this message out there. We love that. Let us know if you want to see something, hear something. I think today's show is going to be super duper incredible. So hold on to your sheets and your seats and everything else that you're sitting with, because the intro that I just heard, I have a lot of questions. But first, I've never met a real life male advocate as a female in person in my life. So I have a lot of questions about that, number one. So first, before we get that started, Char, your journey started with unthinkable circumstances. You went through a lot coming up, born into trauma, overcoming medical predictions and things like that. So in your own words, can you tell me a little bit about what that was about and how it's shaping your journey today?
Yes, thank you. And again, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate all of you guys. So I was born into trauma, okay? I was born from 2 drug-addicted parents. My mother and my father were both addicts. So in turn, that made me, what they would call a drug baby. So at 2 months old, I died. They said I had a baby stroke. They brought me back. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
And then once I began to age, the doctor said that I would never be able to thrive. I was always going to have learning disabilities. Never happened. I've always been one of the smartest in the class. So yeah, that's how my journey started.
Oh, wow. And so what you do now, can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing currently?
So what I am doing now is I am Char Curry, the #1 female advocate for men, but also a sister to women. And the reason why I do what I do, you guys, is because so many times us as women, we have so much childhood trauma and trauma from adolescent years or from previous partners. And I feel like as adults, what happens is we go into connections and relationships and we don't understand proper communication. We don't understand that, therapy is a great thing and that we have some stuff that we need to work on. So we end up we can have a good man or a good spouse right in front of us, but we'll always tend to point the finger at them because we haven't dug out our stuff. So a lot of times, and I'm a woman, but I also see it amongst my peers, amongst people that I counsel. And it's due to the fact 9 times out of 10 that there are certain things that happen in childhood, from trauma from adolescent years or either from a previous partner. So they have this skewed lens of what, someone good is treating them like.
So that motivated you. Did something happen in your own relationship to give you that, to make you change so that you and were able to see that in others, to be able to help others? What led you on that journey?
It wasn't anything that happened in particular in my relationship per se. I will say that coupled with, experience, that coupled with the fact that I was raised by my great-grandparents. So I always had the foundation of morals, manners, standards, and value, right? But, and fun fact about me, a lot of my followers, unless they've seen my lives, they don't know that I was married for almost 25 years. And in that time, there was a lot of things that happened physically, shall we say, if you will. So, I have gone through some things. I have, even I went back and looked and saw what I could have done differently. So there were certain things that I did during that marriage that I wasn't proud of. There were certain things that I did and I said that I wasn't proud of and that I could have changed. So in return, I actually went back to my ex and I said, hey, you know what? I remember this and this and this happening. I remember saying this and this and this. You know what? Forgive me. I apologize.
Wow.
And that's the thing. It's like, ladies, if you're out there, learn how to take responsibility and accountability for yourself. Seriously, because there are certain things that you say and that you do that can tear a man down forever.
I think accountability is big on both sides, both men and women.
Yes.
And so listening to your story and what you went through, what does restoring respect between the sexes look like to you?
Okay, good one. Good one. You know what? I don't feel like it has to be restored. I feel like there is something that society puts out there and they say, oh, well, the men are against the women. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I believe that certain individuals say and do certain things that cause disrespect to come into their relationships or into their marriages. And I feel like a lot of times they don't end up apologizing or taking accountability. So then what happens is you have this crumbling of that dynamic. You have the crumbling of the bond because you've been disrespectful towards your partner. So I don't feel like there's a gender war in any type of way. I feel like a lot of times people lose respect for their partners because they've lost respect for themselves, if you will. A lot of times, if you look at someone that respects themselves, they respect others way better.
And what do you think? What do you think communication? How much is communication a part of all of this?
It's the number one factor. It's the number one factor because if you don't have proper communication, then where can you go? And let me just say this. A lot of times people will become adults and society, the world, your partner, even yourself, you think that you're supposed to be able to communicate and at a certain capacity. But if you go back and look at it historically, a lot of households are subject to the child not speaking. They tell the children, you're supposed to be seen and not heard. And so how can you always shut a child down and expect for them to grow into an adult that can have proper communication or that can have proper relationships with another adult? They were taught to always be quiet and only be seen. And now you want them to be a productive member of society. You want them to be productive in their relationships. How?
Yeah. I like it. Hey man, with that, I got quite a few more questions, but I'm going to pass it over to Jimmy and see if Jimmy wants to jump into the conversation. Jimmy?
I'd like to go straight to the employee side of the house. Mm-hmm. So men, as you spoke about children being suppressed, right? Men are taught to suppress their emotions, yes. Right? So yes. In the workplace, that's overlooked, right? A man's emotional needs are overlooked in the workplace. So agreed. What can we do to give men the confidence that they can deal with their emotions more openly than we tend to do now without threatening their self-perception, right? Their view of self, because they think that everybody else is looking at them the same way that they look at themselves. Right. So how can we help men do that?
And thank you for speaking on that. It's something I've taught for years, and the men, 9 times out of 10, way more harsher than the women. Okay, women are coddled for the most part as children. Men, they're taught to shut up, be quiet, suck it up, don't cry, don't show emotion. And what happens is you have these men who grow up and be business owners, entrepreneurs, and they go into these amazing careers, but then they don't know how to operate properly because they've always been told to be quiet. So a lot of men learn it along the way. They learn it from their peers. A lot of them have fathers or grandfathers that teach them. And a lot of them, what happens is they end up having to teach themselves how to be properly emotionally intelligent, how to make sure that when they're expressing themselves, that they're not, going over the top, if you will, because what happens is men by nature, you guys are like this, right? And so what happens is society puts it out there that, that's aggressive, or you're being too assertive, or you're being too overbearing. But in reality, men naturally are leaders in most cases. So, I feel like men learn it from different sides, different perspectives, but also that when men end up being bosses, right, there's a whole nother dynamic that plays into the workplace, because if that man as a child was treated in certain ways from their father or whoever raised them, then 9 times out of 10, if they weren't treated well as a child, they grow up into this man that's an angry boss and who wants to work for them. So they end up a lot of men, their businesses end up crumbling because of their personality or because of their mannerisms that they learned along the way as protective mechanisms.
All right. And aggressive leadership is more often than not the wrong way to go, right? Aggressive leadership leads to distrust from the employee of the employer, of the leader. And when men in the workplace fight that stigma of what they think they're supposed to be, what they think everybody is looking at them as. And so what can an employer do to help a man be open to being more expressive emotionally?
You know what I have found? I've even worked with some employers that do this. They will bring in counselors. They will bring in counselors or therapists or mentors or coaches, and they will have like mini sessions that they will allow their employees to do. And it does make a difference. And it does, create this balance in the workplace and the work environment to where, and you can see analytics on this as well, like employees that bring in things like this. Some of them bring in masseuses. I'm also a masseuse, by the way. They bring in masseuses, they bring in counselors, they have mini sessions. So there are certain things that they also offer different type of breaks, if you will. It's not just an ordinary break, like they get to do fun things on their breaks and stuff. So it's a matter of the employer finding what works for them and their team, honestly.
Great. One more question before I turn it over to Lloyd. Do you deal with females in a work environment differently, or how do you train the female to be respectful of a man being able to open up?
Right. A lot of times nowadays, the female boss persona, right? That plays, and if you really hear about it, it has a negative connotation because some of the women are so aggressive, or they try to pit themselves over men because they make more money or they're higher up on the ladder. So I would say to the women out there that that are bosses, if you will, to make sure that, and this is across the board, not even for specifically to men, make sure you're being the person that you would want to work for. A lot, and it goes back to childhood, like be the person that basically treat people how you want to be treated, but also be very, very, very mindful, because sometimes the women that have a certain status or that have a certain financial backing, they will think that they can pit themselves over men in the workforce, or they can treat him a certain way because she makes more money than him, or because she's the vice president and he's the general manager. You know what I mean? So just be mindful of how you treat people across the board, and I feel like that's going to help us better in the workplace altogether.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Lloyd?
Yeah, Char, how you doing?
Hi, Lloyd.
I'm so happy to.
Uh-oh.
No.
Did he freeze up? Yeah.
Lloyd,
no, hold on. Come back,
to
Lloyd.
us.
Yeah, he just came back right now. He just came back right now.
Back.
Okay.
As soon as you start
I was-
talking, it froze up. Go ahead, Lloyd.
I was just saying, Char, I was so excited to talk to you because as a white male, I'm often not picked as the victim. And so, I don't get an opportunity for people to say, yes, I'm going to empower you. But on a more serious note, where do you see the greatest gender gap being right now? That, we talked a lot about males not being able to show their emotion. But what I believe that is a lot of times we're just not supposed to show it in public. And we do show it privately or to those close of us. On a gender issue, where do you see the biggest divide?
What happens is, this is the thing that people have to understand. Men do talk. Men do want to share. But what happens is 9 times out of 10, the men will share. And what happens is they get beat over the head with it. It gets brought up later. It gets used against them. It gets used as leverage. Oh, it gets used as him being weak for showing emotion. And then the flip side of it is when the men stop talking, then people get angry with you for not talking. So then it's like you guys are in a catch-22. It's like damned if you do, damned. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't in a lot of cases, because men do speak. And the ones that don't speak, I'm telling you right now, there was someone in their past that used it against them when they spoke up.
You know, I was so impressed looking at your background. I see that you were an executive assistant, you were an HR coordinator,
Yeah.
and you were a surgical unit CNA, a certified nursing assistant.
I
And
was.
as I was reading all of that, the thing that struck me was the fact that all those vocations involved helping people.
Yeah.
Each and every job you had was in a way to help people, and you're still doing that as a counselor. And I'm just wondering, do you consider yourself to be an empath? Do you feel other people's pain,
Oh my
and
God, I do.
and how do you pass that on to people?
Yeah. And thank you for that question. I love that. Yes, I'm the encourager. I'm the encourager. I'm the supporter. I'm the strong friend. I'm the one that always shows up when no one else does. Um, oh, repeat the last part of what you just said, Lord. I'm so sorry. It left
Well,
me.
just do you consider yourself an empath?
Yes.
And how
Yes,
do
I
you
do.
pass that on to somebody, or how does that play into your counseling?
Yeah, so the fact that I do, and this is the thing, spiritually, I tap in. And when I tap in spiritually, then, I'm able to see things about people's lives. I'm able to feel things about people's lives. I'm able to see the dynamics, that happen between them and another person or them and their spouse. So, absolutely, I pick up on things very much so. And I don't even have to be in front of the person. I've been doing this for over 15 years where I'm able to pick up on things. I talk to people all over the world for over 15 years. And, yes, I'm definitely an empath. But when it comes to encouraging and supporting others, that's how I thrive. Like I know what my purpose and what my journey is supposed to look like on the earth. And so I'm very well equipped and I come alive when I'm able to support other people.
Now, as listeners of our show know, I have a patented softball question, and I usually try to give the host a couple of questions so that they can figure out which one they want to answer. So I have come up with two questions for you, and you can pick whichever one you want to answer, and just tell us about it. So my first question is, how does my wife know what I'm thinking before I even know what I'm thinking? Or if you'd rather, the second question is, how is my wife able to make me think that something is my idea when in reality it was her idea all along, but she was able to make me think it was my idea? And the corollary to both of those questions is males have very fragile egos. And that's one of the problems, I believe, that overall with regards to communication. We like to pretend that we're big and strong, but our egos seem to be more fragile than women. So either one, how does she know what I'm
I'm going
thinking
with the
before
first
I
one.
do?
I'm going with the first one because this is the thing. This is the thing. Obviously she's been so attentive to where she studies you, not only physically, but she studies you emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually. And that is the way she's able to do what she does with excellence. And it seems like that was like really like true. That it seems like that was a true question you just asked. So I'm just gonna say that that's the way how she's able to do it. But first, it's gonna be spiritually. She's tapped into a certain point spiritually to where she's able to pay attention. She's able to take herself out of things. She's able to be selfless instead of selfish. That's the reason why she's able to do that.
You know, we're together for 39 years, and I have to tell you that that is the best answer we've ever gotten to a silly question.
Really.
And I thank you for that.
Facts.
Kobe, back to you.
I'm actually gonna have to call facts on that one because your question kind of threw me for a loop, which they always do. So I'm thinking, okay, how is she gonna handle this one? I didn't think she was, but your answer, Shar, to me was probably one of the best ones that we've had with our softball questions because now it makes me think. I've been married, since 2003. I'm not doing public math right now. I don't want to get in trouble when I get
You
home.
better not. You better not.
I don't want to get in
Stop
trouble when I get
trouble.
home, but he asked the right question because I feel the same thing. Like, how do you know that? And you gave a really good answer. So I don't even have a question to
Can I
follow
just
up.
say this really quick?
Absolutely.
And that's because when it comes to life in general, right? And I'm not religious, so whoever it is you're tapped in with, But I will say this, I'm a spiritual being first, and that's the reason why I can do what I do, and that's the reason why I can help as many people, and that's the reason why I can treat people how great I treat them, is because I tap into the person spiritually first. I see them spiritually, not just in the physical.
Man, you kind of answered the next question,
Sorry.
but no, not really, because I'm gonna ask it anyways, because I think it's a good question. It's one that I've been waiting on that to ask, specifically because of what you do. But what would you say to the man listening today who feels unseen, or to the woman who wants to understand the man in their life better?
To the man that feels unseen or unheard, I would say learn yourself first. Because a lot of times you'll when you understand yourself, people are better able to understand you. And if they don't, then you can better explain to them how to better understand you. To the woman that wants to understand her spouse better, pay attention. Pay attention. And one thing that my spiritual father told me a few years ago, and I said, Pop, what's the number one piece of relationship advice that you can give? He said, always look at yourself first. Always look in the mirror first. So ladies, if you want to learn him better, learn how to be selfless instead of selfish. Learn how to take yourself out of the equation. Learn how to become unoffended. I can teach you that as well. A lot of times what happens is women will they will become spiteful and resentful and become angry and distant because of something that their spouse may have said or done, when in reality, it was probably just something that he was going through. It wasn't even about you, but you made it about yourself. Learn how to take yourself out of the equation and tap into what it is that he needs.
I love that answer. So you're a speaker, an author, a producer, a coach, a media personality. How do you stay grounded with such a big mission?
Oh my goodness, that's the question.
That's the question. How do you do it? I heard you talking and you're so busy and people wanting to get back to you. How do you do it?
Yeah, you know what? It took me years to get here. And a lot of people don't know that I used to suffer from anxiety and depression and panic attacks. So once I overcame that spirit of fear, like the fear of, social anxiety and people, I used to always think that people were super focused on me and worried about what I was doing and what I was saying. They probably are now, but oh well, I'm already here, you guys.
Yeah.
But I had to get over the fact that, that people weren't worried about me. They weren't looking at me. And I had to get over that social anxiety and the fact that I was living out of fear. Like I would only be able to go to the grocery store like 5 a.m. or like midnight because I thought people were like super focused on me, like just as a person. And so once I came out of that anxiety and those panic attacks, oh my gosh, I came out swinging. And it was just about, me sharing the wisdom and the knowledge and the experiences that I have gone through to help other people. So it was me basically, you heard that term, going forward afraid. I went forward afraid. That's how I'm able to do what I do. I make sure that I take care of myself. When it comes to my spirit, I don't allow certain people around me. Once I feel like something, they got to go. I built a foundation of peace, freedom, and joy. So if they try to infiltrate any one of those, they have to go because I care so much about myself that they can't be there.
Man, I love this. My next question, I'm thinking about when you left your job in 2023 and stepped out on your own and decided to do this type of work that you're on full time. I speak to a lot of employees and a lot of people that want to do change and things like that. What gave you the courage to be able to actually do something like that and change your trajectory? Because a lot of people are stuck in their place.
Yeah, faith. I had to have faith in myself. I had to look at myself in the mirror and tell myself that I could do it. I also had to make sure that, fun fact, I do have little ones at home. A lot of people, they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you had kids. Yes, I do. I have 5 of them, you guys. But I had to have faith in myself, knowing that I was as great as what I was called to be. So, you have to believe in yourself. Anytime you're going to step out and do something that huge, you have to believe in yourself. And I'm telling you, listen, you guys, it's still not peaches and cream. Since I left, I've had an eviction notice. I've had overdrawn accounts.
Tell them how real it is.
I had to really believe in myself. I'm doing great now. You know what I mean? And things are still building financial wise, but I had to believe in myself. If you don't believe in yourself, then who else is going to? And people know, people can sense, people can feel when you don't believe in yourself. So they're not going to believe in you either.
Yeah, I love it. I love this
my
answer.
goodness.
And you say you got 5 kids. That's like a start of a basketball team. But I'm gonna turn it over to Jimmy. Jimmy.
Yeah, my last name is Curry, so go figure.
Oh,
Right?
look at that. Uh-oh.
Yeah, what that in itself was a beautiful gem for this podcast, right? We're all, as Great Employers Matter, we're always looking for gems to share with others. I am an empath. I mean, that was such a gem that I'm tearing up. So let me get back to the workplace side of it. You know, Great Employees Matter, for all intents and purposes, a major portion of what we do is personal development. We go in and we help employees learn who they are and how to overcome those fears and anxieties and all the stuff that keeps them from really becoming the great employee that is within all of us, right? It doesn't take a lot to move from being average to being great. And when it comes to that personal growth, what, in your opinion, if a man's going through that journey in the workplace, and in addition to the types of things that we teach, I suspect maybe you have courses that they can sign up for. But how does that relate to generating more respect in the workplace for them? Do people see that when somebody's trying to improve themselves?
Yeah, you know what? It depends. And let me just say this. I tell everybody, you change your mindset, you change your perspective, and you change your life, right? So a lot of times people don't end up believing in themselves. They'll believe in everybody else around them, but for whatever reason, they'll have this thing where they can't believe in themselves. And that's when people like us come into play, and we believe in them until they believe in themselves. We encourage them, we uplift, we support them. We say, hey, nice haircut. Hey, great job on doing that. That's why it's imperative that we always look for ways to compliment other people, whether it's in the workplace or just being a nice person walking past somebody. Hey, I like your hair. I like your dress. You'll see me 9 times out of 10. I'm looking for someone to compliment, and it's imperative, to be a great person. Sometimes we've heard it for years with people that have made it into success in a certain limelight, right? There's that one teacher or there's that one person that believed in them, and now look at them go now. So a lot of times it takes us just being so selfless that we are like natural encouragers and, putting people to the forefront that need to be there. Honestly.
And I may be speaking,
nice, be kind.
I may be speaking to the choir, but I think you do that in your relationships constantly as well, especially as well.
You have to.
Jimmy?
Now I'm going to flip it to the employer side. You talked about having counselors come in and help work with the staff. What other things can leaders do to support a healthier, more balanced team culture?
That's good. That's good. Do things that the team would enjoy. Do things that the team would gravitate towards. And that comes back to being attentive. A lot of employers, they have so much weight on them that they're always in go mode, right? But sometimes you have to learn how to be so attentive to your team and to your employers, not only as a team, but also individually. Find out what makes each person tick, and then you'll be able to have a solid team.
Very good. Now I'm
speechless.
Well, no, I'm slipping to the personal side of the house without. I don't want to offend anybody, but it is generally common knowledge based on societal norms that when a woman finds her life mate, if there are in fact life mates, and they get married, in that process, we as men believe that women believe that they can change their man after they've hooked them, right? And the reality is men are pretty simple people. and change for us is difficult because we're simple people. So what do we need to learn, either as a male or a female, what do we need to learn about that societal, it's not a norm, but it's a common thread, right? That women believe they can change their man, where men aren't looking to change their women. They like the person that
Right.
they married. So
Right.
so help me out with that.
But before you answer that, I just want to say, Jimmy, thanks for asking that question very delicately, because I know my wife is looking at the TV, looking at every single word coming out of your lips. Now, Miss Char.
Yes. Okay. So, and this is the thing. A lot of women, people say that men are fixers, but so are women in a lot of ways. We're nurturers, we're fixers. Depending on what type of personality we have in the environment in which we may have grown up in. Ladies, stop trying to change him. If there is something that you feel like he needs to work on, you can gently bring it to his attention, but ultimately it is up to him. You do not get to change him. If there's something that you feel like he needs to change for the better that's going to help him, bring it up to him in a discussion. Don't do like this. The more you do like this, the more he's doing like this. The more he's going to try to protect himself, the more he's going to close down. Do not poke at him. Do not poke at him. And let me just say this. A lot of times I'll advise for couples to have journals that they share. Like I have a journal, like, okay, well, let's put this down as a talking point. Ladies, get you a couples journal, put talking points in there so that way in a gentle environment, you can bring certain things to him. It's not about you fixing him. It's about him being himself and finding himself and being the best him that he can be. He does not need you to change him. If he wants to change things for the better, great. But he's going to do it at his own pace. And you are his helpmate. So you are there to encourage him, to support him and help him along the way. Figure out what ways you can help him change things for the better instead of always pointing the finger at him and trying to make it seem like he's not good enough. Because 9 times out of 10, when you do that, he's already got 1 foot out the door emotionally, and pretty soon he's going to leave anyway.
If y'all women not listening today, this conversation, I don't know what to say, man. Because I want to take her home.
Kobe, I always tell my wife that there's no need to remind me of something every 6 months. If I say I'm going to do it, I'll do it. And there's just no need every 6 months to remind me that 6 months ago I said I would do that.
Wow.
Eventually I will get around to it.
Uh-oh, Lord. I think your wife's going to be calling me. I don't know.
Wow.
And Char, I've added up all of your accomplishments. And I must say that for a woman of 123 years old, you look remarkably good. Because I figure that you had to be at least 123 to accomplish everything that you've accomplished in your life. And I think that that's great. But for those people out there, and there seems to be a big emphasis on mental health. And one of the things that after everything that you've been through, after every job you've had, after being empathic, one of the things that I think you're extremely qualified to speak on is what people can do if they find themselves in a funk, what they should do when they're in a bad situation or in a situation where maybe they're not happy at the moment. How do they get out of it? What can they tell themselves?
Do you mean relational wise or do you mean individually?
Either one. Either
Okay.
one. Take them
gonna
as
go
you
with
want.
I'm going to go with the individual side just because even if you have a spouse or you don't have a spouse, individually, you always want to hone in on what it is that you need to do to get to the next level of being better mentally, spiritually, psychologically, either one, right? And what I will say is this. Make sure you're being so self-aware and mindful of yourself that you're staying on top of yourself. And when I say that, you have to be so self-aware that you're 10 steps ahead, because what happens is you can get into a certain space where you can't crawl out or you can't get out. Okay. And I say that because I had a deep, dark depression for about a year. I went from the bed to the bathroom to the doctor, and that was the cycle. That was the cycle because I didn't know what was wrong with me, right? And so I literally went from writing a suicide note I'm a big journal. I've journaled for over 30 years. I went from writing a suicide note to writing a prayer, like, God, get me out of here, like the universe, get me out of here, because it was so dark, it was so deep. And that is the day that everything changed. Once I changed in that same sentence, once I was writing a suicide note to writing the prayer, it literally changed and it lifted off of me. So let me say this, a lot of people think that therapy is just like us talking back and forth. No, therapy, I do music therapy. You'll see music notes all over me because music has brought me out of the pit so many times. Sometimes I do road therapy. I'll get on the road. I'll just put music on blast. I love all types of music. I will blast music. One of my favorite places is the beach. I'll just go and sit at the beach by myself. There's so many different types of things that you guys can do, but also make sure that when you're going through stuff, don't clamp down. Don't clamp down. The minute you shut down and you choose to go into that space and you don't tell anyone about it, that might be your demise. You know what I mean? So make sure you have people around you that you can go to and open up with stuff about, because sometimes we feel like we're alone. You know what I mean? So get people around you that you can speak freely with, that can help you and know when something's off. Because sometimes all it takes is one phone call. I can't tell you how many times spiritually I've been able to tap in and I call someone right at that moment. They're saying, oh my gosh, like, I needed this call right then and there. Can I just speak really, really quick on something else? It pertains to this. Guys, make sure that you have men around you that are going to uplift and encourage you, because so many times men, you guys will stuff things down and you will not get the proper help. You do not have the proper people around you. I'm just going to share this briefly and then we'll go to the next question. Last year, someone booked a session with me, and he gets on the video call and he's like this. And he's like, it's okay, Char. I've already made my peace. And he's got the fire on like this. And I'm like, no, that's not what we're doing today. And that turned it from a 1 hour session to an 8-hour call that day. I did not get off the phone. I would not leave him. And I talked to him for multiple days after that at no extra charge, because I wanted to make sure that his life was saved. So guys, make sure you have people around you that you can go to, that are going to listen to you, that you can speak freely with. And that's the thing. You guys, stop judging people, because if he had someone around him that he could have went to that he knew was a no judgment zone, he may not ever have had to have the call with me in the first place.
Is there one sign or one act which, when somebody does, that should be immediate and they should immediately seek help? Is there a warning sign or something which you often see, which at one point in time we shouldn't leave that person alone?
There isn't, because it's our most happiest, most joyous people on the outside that end up taking themselves out. So there is no one sign. There is no one sign.
Wow.
Pay attention,
I know that.
Check on your people.
I know that the one thing that people don't talk about, especially in the school age kids, is that suicide is contagious. And that once one person does it in a class, there's a likelihood that somebody else in the class will do it. And so, without one sign. Wow. Jimmy, back to you.
Yeah, I'm going to brighten it up just for a second.
Oh, come on, Jimmy.
I have to say, Char,
I'm not going to give you a hard time today, Jimmy.
Well, I mean, it touched my heart that you're willing, even committed to helping that gentleman go through his struggles at the time, and so many people have never had that opportunity to speak with somebody that can help them out. So the brighter side of things is, one of the things that impresses me is that one of your favorite places to go is the beach. And I can only think of one beach here in Las Vegas.
I was thinking the same thing when she said it.
And it's not the kind of beach that I would go to, or that anybody would allow me to go to. So, okay, we'll gloss over that one.
Yeah, next.
One of the things that we do is we teach our customers, our clients, our employees, our employers, that accountability is so important. Right. And one of our adages is that you must be accountable to yourself for yourself, not for your employer, not for anybody else. If you can focus on being accountable to yourself, then by rote, you become accountable to everybody else. Right. You become a better person for that. So in this, I'm sorry for my bad choice of words, but in this game of male-female relationships, right? I agree with you. There's not a gender war, but there's a gender communication gap. So what are your words of wisdom for dealing with personal accountability when it comes to those relationships?
Mm-hmm. It comes with, I feel like it comes with knowing who you are, knowing that, let me just say this. It starts with integrity. It starts with integrity because when you choose to have integrity, then you don't have a problem with apologizing and you don't have a problem taking accountability. And this is something that I learned, oh gosh, in my 20s, because what happened was as I was growing up, I had this fear of telling the truth because I didn't want to get in trouble, right? So as a young adult, I would lie. But then when I tapped more into my spiritual side in my 20s, I was like, why would I be afraid to tell the truth? But that came out of fear. A lot of people don't know how to take accountability or take responsibility for themselves because they don't have integrity, because they've always been fearful of someone judging them or getting in trouble. So you have to know, ladies and gentlemen, nobody's gonna go get a switch off the tree and whoop you as an adult. Learn how to take accountability. Learn how to have integrity. It's fun having integrity. It's fun having integrity. Take accountability for yourself.
It's free to have
It is
integrity.
free, but also this is the thing. A lot of people nowadays, they feel like there's so much judgment in society to where they don't like to walk in their own truth, and so they will hide their truth and hide their truth, and that's another issue as well. You have to know who you are, and walk in your own truth and your integrity and walk in your own journey in order to have the accountability and take responsibility for yourself the way you're supposed to. We're all adults. We are not going to get in trouble anymore. Well, some people live in households where they might get in trouble, um, but it comes with integrity. Yeah.
I think it goes a little bit when you said when you first came in here that word, don't judge people. And I think people are just so used to being judged and not only being used to being judged, but judging others.
Yes.
And so it kind of puts you in this where I see a lot of people serving people for that purpose, where they're worried about their own movements because they're worried about the people that who are going to judge them are going to. The environment is sick.
Yeah. So they end up being people pleasers and appeasers. So they
Yeah.
never end up really living out their own truth because they're so worried about someone else judging them to where they're always scurrying around. Oh, I have to do this because they're going to think this. Oh, I have to do this because they're not going to accept me. We all want to be accepted. We all want to be loved. Learn how to be selfless and not selfish. You have to be so comfortable with yourself, though. If you're not comfortable with yourself and you're not living out your own truth, 9 times out of 10, you're going to lie to everybody else anyway.
Yeah.
With that, I need to take a 30 seconds and first apologize to Waylot because they are our sponsor, and we should have hit at the 2:30 break and said, welcome to Waylot. Let me tell you about Waylot.com. So Waylot is our sponsor. Waylot stands for What Are You Leaving on the Table? And so for all of you business owners or leaders that are here that have responsibility for growth of a business, we encourage you to go to Waylot.com, Waylott.com, and take a look at what they have to offer. They provide a business analysis service that will teach you how to skyrocket your revenue by asking a series of questions. And it's atypical because, as we know, a lot of business services will offer that service, but they focus only on the direct financial matters of that company. They'll take a look at the trends and they'll take a look at ROI and all that type of stuff. Waylot does it much differently. They really take a look at the business operations and the mindset of the business and the business owners. They have a free assessment to get you comfortable with what they do, and if you like it, then they have a paid-for assessment that goes much deeper. And if you like that, they have a comprehensive. They can hold your hand and take the business to extreme heights when it comes to revenue, because a lot of us do leave things on the table. We're so busy taking care of our business that we forget to take care of our business. So go to Waylot.com, Waylott.com. Check them out, and thank you, Waylot.
That's it. Should we do shameless, selfless, you know what I'm trying to say?
No.
Okay.
I have a couple more questions, if that's all right.
Go for it.
And I suspect that Lloyd does too. So we talked about accountability. Another thing that we deal with on a very regular basis, meaning daily at a minimum and maybe hourly, just because life is crazy, right? Life is crazy. Um, I personally have a very difficult time with negativity. And whenever it enters into my life, in the workplace, in my personal life, in my friends and family, I shut people down whenever I hear the slightest conversation slant towards negativity. And part of me thinks that part of that is good. The other part of me thinks that, well, I'm leaving myself out of conversations that need to be had. Um, but I definitely gravitate towards positivity, and I do believe that energies attract. So positivity attracts positivity, and negativity attracts negativity. So, do you have any comments about that?
I'm the same way, Jimmy.
Yay! That's because we're both empaths.
A lot of people say, "Well, what's your, what do they say? What's your greatest? What is your weakness or whatnot?" And I say, rude people. Because and this is the thing, I'm super outspoken. I do it in love, but I don't take no crap from nobody, right? And I won't let anybody else. Like if I see somebody treating somebody badly, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to step in. So, but this goes back to what I was saying earlier. You change your mindset, you change your perspective, you change your life. I was a worrier, I was a complainer. I had to train myself in order to get out of that cycle. And oh my gosh, I'm so glad I did. It literally changed my life. I used to, I feel like that's part of what helped me get out of the anxiety as well. Because of if I had stayed in the worrying, complaining mindset, I probably would still be there in that same cycle. And then what happens is it's a cancer. It literally spreads to everybody around you. So I don't like negativity either. It's like, yeah. And even as human beings, and I don't want you guys to condemn yourself, right? So even as human beings, like we can do so much work on ourselves, but then we'll slip up and have moments sometimes, right? So if that happens, just listen, get right back on the tracks. But and then also when it comes to people that are around you, whether it's family members, whether it's friends, right? Make sure that you have a good circle. You can't say that you want to change your mindset, your perspective, and change your life if you're hanging around people that have negative connotations and undertones in their mindset. It's just not going to work, sweetheart. You are what you hang around 9 times out of 10.
I understand. I concur wholeheartedly, but I would also proffer that sometimes negativity doesn't mean that the individual is negative. It's just that there's a pervasive. Yeah, I'm in the middle of writing a book, and that's probably why this is coming up.
I love it.
And I think the title of the book is going to be something along the lines of.
Don't tell anybody.
Really?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, don't tell us.
Oh, people still may.
Just write the book.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that backup, because he don't be listening to
Yeah,
me
no.
sometimes. No, don't tell nobody nothing.
Don't tell them the title. Don't tell them the title.
So
Okay.
continue, Demi.
So I'm not going to take either of those comments as negativity.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
So okay, so I have been counseled, I've been whipped, and thank you.
See, this is what came out. See, I told you.
So with that, Lloyd, do you have any closing questions before we go to our shameless self-promotion?
Yeah, I was just going to say with regards to the negativity, and it goes back to Char's comment about rudeness, is that sometimes you have to hug your enemies real tight so you know how big to dig the hole.
Well, what I have to say to that is my grandma always said, I just posted this the other day, my grandma always said, if you dig a ditch for yourself, you got to dig one. If you dig a ditch for somebody else, you got to dig one for yourself.
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Exactly. I'm a firm believer in the fact that you make your own luck, right? If you believe that good things are going to happen, then good things happen. And you have to go in with a positive attitude. The only caution I would give about trying to eradicate all the negativity in your life is that sometimes that negativity helps. Sometimes you grow from it. And sometimes you can deal with something when it's small negativity, whereas if you try to ignore it, then it grows into something much larger. So I think part of the key of ignoring it is to make an early and correct decision as to what's important and has to be dealt with, and what if I just let it go will really just go away.
Yeah.
So
Great.
And another thing to piggyback off of that, sometimes we can take something negative that somebody may say or may do, and it will actually fuel us into greatness. When I first started, I had somebody say, "Oh, well, stay in your lane. Oh, well, you shouldn't be doing X, Y, and Z." And I went full steam ahead. I think I had like 2,000 followers at the time. I think I was just on TikTok at the time. And, this person, and I can still hear the person. It was actually a family member that said it. It's funny now because that same family member.
I say I have a saying for that. Friends and
What is
family
it?
elevate you after strangers celebrate you. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's the truth.
Sometimes we have to, take the negative and turn it into a positive. And you know what? It depends on how we use it and how we perceive it as well. And back then I did see it as a negative statement, but now it's like it's one of the things that actually drove me to where I am now. So hallelujah, thank you.
All right. With that, thank you for that answer. With that, we want to move to what we refer to as shameless self-promotion. And I want to make sure you have plenty of time to share with the audience what you do for them, how they can reach out to you, your social media platforms, all that sort of stuff. So this is your moment to shine with shameless self-promotion.
Thank you so much, you guys. I am Char Curry, aka Says What She Wants, the #1 female advocate for men, but also sister to women. I am an author. I'm a speaker. I have a lot of short films that are coming out. I've already done 4. I have more that are coming out. If you need to book a session with me, whether it's venting, coaching, therapy, you can find me at calendly.com/Char Curry. That's CHAR, you guys, not SH. And I'm an author. Can I get those books really quick?
Yeah, see,
I
we're
should have had the books here.
yeah, we're
I
already
should have
run
had
out
the
of
books
time.
by
We didn't
now.
even get to that, so that just means we're gonna have to do a continuation show
Yes,
sometime.
part
So
two.
facts. And yeah, I just love your journey. I'm so grateful that you came and talked to us today. I think the conversation that you're having and what you stand for is very important in today's world, to not divide but bring people together. I think it's so important what you're saying, and you're bringing people together with that voice. And I think you got a hard job because you're on the same side with us.
And we know how hard that is.
Man.
Listen, you know what? And you're right. And it does get difficult sometimes, but the difficulty doesn't fall on me because this is my purpose. And so I do what I do effortlessly every single day. You can go back. There's a track record of every single day. You will see something from me, whether it's an original quote of wisdom or whether it's a video. There was a point where I was making 20 to 30 videos a day, and I don't space them out. I just the wisdom drops into me, and I make the video. But yes, these are the books that I have. The first one is Math, Why We Wear Them, and the Effects They Have on Our Day-to-Day Lives. All my books are going to have space in there to write because I'm a journaler. So this one is about parental heartache, childhood trauma, forgiveness, and how to get past something. The second one is Here You Go, Sister, Blueprint to His Soul. This is how to treat your man better. And if you're already treating him good, then get the book anyways, because there's going to be something in there that you're going to be able to treat him even better. And then I have The Offset of Math, and this is the men and the women's journal. So there are the 2 journals, and then there's this one, and then Math. I wrote this one with my bestie, Arlene Carson. So those are the 4 books I have available, and I'm writing one right now on breakups and how to get past them.
And where can our audience find the books?
Those are all on Amazon.
Okay.
Search Char Curry, CHARCURRY.
Great. Well, thank you for that. Do we have
I got some stuff that I want to say, but I want to give Lloyd a chance to close out if he has anything he wants to say first before I go. I'm gonna deal in the comments. Lloyd?
Yeah, Char, I just wanted to say that was positively horrible, and it was terrible, and we're going to have you back at least 10 more times just to see if we can't get it right some point in time in the future.
We got it so wrong today.
You totally destroyed my softball question. Didn't share any of my feelings. I am just so disappointed, and please come back. Thank you.
Well, I love that. I want to jump into these comments real quick before we get out of here. First of all, I want to say thanks for everybody that came in and showed up and showed out. We had a lot of activity in there. Vegas up now, money over everything. Bonafide was in there. I'm going to go back and ask Dale, one of our loyal listeners. We love it that you're here, Dale. But Dale had a comment that I want to put back on the screen and share it with you, Shar. He says, I'm sure you have heard that the meek shall inherit the earth. I was told that the translation of the word meek is power under control. You seem like a dynamically meek person. I just wanted to put that out there because that's a super strong statement and a compliment.
Thank you.
And thank you, Dale.
Thank you.
But everybody else in there, Terry, we appreciate you guys. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Jimmy, you have any last words?
Other than thank you so very much. This, there are so many gems that came out of this podcast. I have been inspired by you selfishly to go ahead and post more on a daily basis. I like that stream of consciousness type of flow, and so for the audience that follows us on greatemployeesmatter.com, we will be doing some more posts. The key is consistency, but in this case, it's going to be consistency and increased frequency. So thank you for that, and thank you for being on the show. We do plan and hope that you'll grace us with another show in the future, and anything that we can do to help support you, we are glad to do. Thank you.
You say the word, I'm here.
All righty.
All right. And Shar, what's the one final message you'd leave our gym community with today? Something they can carry into their workplace and their relationship to help them, be better and be better humans.
Yeah. Always practice self-discipline and self-control.
Start with yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
I love it, man. And with that, this is Great Employees Matter. We do this every week. It's an employee program disguised. It's a personal development program disguised as an employee program. So we help, we teach, we uplift. Make sure you share, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Every week at 2. We got some great things in the works coming. We have some great seminars in the works coming. We got some courses for you, but make sure you stay a part of the group. Thank you, and see you next week.